We are live. Welcome to another episode of Chiropractic is Sexy. I'm Dr. Paula Ruffin.
And I'm Dr. Erica Peabody. And here we are, another Thursday. They go quickly.
Gosh, it feels like we were just here. It feels like it's only been like a week ago. Oh, wait, it has.
You know what I just said to the staff, and I don't know if it's the eclipse energy this week or what, but she's like, I'm so drained. And we did work last Saturday. We work one Saturday a month. So sometimes by the following Thursday, it can feel a little bit long, but I'm also like, what is happening? It feels like we've been here with no breaks for 2 weeks. That's what it feels like.
It really does. It really does.
Are you feeling that same thing?
Well, I'm feeling that because of February, right? You know how I feel about February. I'm breaking up with February. I already told you that.
Well, yeah, we're in April, silly.
I know.
You're still feeling February.
That's what I'm saying.
Let that go. Let it go. Let it go.
It's like an old boyfriend. I gotta just kick it to the friggin' curb.
Seriously. Where are people at?
So we got 4 people on, and let's see. Let's get a banner scrolling here. And
awesome.
we're on number 14, aren't we?
We are on 14.
Yes. Okay, great. And let's ticker that across the bottom.
Kenny is here. Hi, Kenny.
There's our Kenny. Yes. How are you, Kenny? We need P squared in the house. So Kenny was on. I went live for the eclipse. I did a little play-by-play.
Fun, yeah. How'd that go?
It was fun. It was fun. You know, it was thanks Bohemian. I appreciate it. And the eclipse was cool to be a part of, but I have to say, and I think I said this in my live, that I was a little underwhelmed because I think unless like my daughter and her friend went down to Ohio and they watched it, and they said, I mean, here's 2, 19 and 20-year-old, and they said, they took the glasses off when it was full, and they both, like, their faces, priceless. They're like, it was the coolest thing ever.
I know. And we talked a little bit about it on Sunday, and then, Monday rolls around, and I've given it some consideration, but not much until somebody dropped glasses off here at the office. And then it was like, wait, what? Now we need to look at it. And then it looked like we were looking at tinted windows from inside the office. Yeah. So I was like, oh, that was super cool and blah, blah, blah. But then to see the video, like some of the time-lapse video, but one of the things one of my patients was in, and they were at a car race in Virginia all through last weekend. So they left on Thursday, but they were driving from Virginia home on Monday.
Oh my gosh.
They went right through it all. And they said the whole thing was super cool. They didn't plan on stopping. That was the only time in the day that that their drive was super simple. It added 3 extra hours of traffic, but they said that the cool part was seeing everybody with their chairs by their cars
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
As far and wide as you could see. So I think one of the coolest parts about it, and someone had brought this up along the way, was everybody stopped and took a moment that day. That's so cool. That's cool.
It really is. And yet we've been talking about memes on this too. Ask somebody to exercise 20 minutes a day and they're like, what? No way. But hey, I'll spend a whole day watching the eclipse, right?
Yeah. Driving to it, waiting for it. Yeah, it is one of those things that is so critical. I was just thinking about that last night because I got home and I didn't get a chance to get an actual workout in. But then I wear the Aura Ring. Dr. Paula wears the Aura Ring as well. I don't know if any of you know the Aura Ring, but I started to chop the grasses off that are on my driveway because I needed to be deadheaded. I like them up there because I have one of those kind of neighbors that you just need a barrier from. So I hate taking them down.
I think we all have those, right?
I know they needed to come down. And so, but it was like an hour and 30 minutes later, I had burned 263 calories just by doing, and it was hard work because it's like those thick grasses, and I had just the loppers. And then of course I have to pick everything up and bag it up. And it was like, well, and on top of that, I don't need to burn another workout amount of calorie. I don't need to burn another 250 on top of that. But, some of those things, especially as we're headed into spring, it's like we are getting that. So be sure you're getting that in a fun way too. I know Dr. Paula will be crazy about getting out in your yard soon.
Oh my gosh. There are days, so when I know I have a lot of yard work to do, I as much as I love going to the gym, I won't go to the gym because I'm like, I will be bending, squatting, lifting for hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so you have to respect your body, and that, I think it's easy too for some people to say, oh, I still have to go to the gym and then come and do that because it's not a gym workout.
Yeah.
But any movement, when you think about how valuable, I'll just say gardening is because I love it. But again, it's squatting, it's bending, it requires so much flexibility and strength. So yeah, like don't be afraid to just, if you're going to be working around the house, just make it a day,
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And the other part about that is a lot of times people don't realize they get out in their yards and they're working now 4 hours. And then their back sore and their neck sore and everything's sore. Like we also need to do some of that in moderation. Although once you open a can of worms, you just keep going. So in those times, take moments, take deep breaths, stop for some water, ton of water, go for a little walk around the block, like change up your movement because too much of that is too much as well.
Yeah.
Especially as the season changes. Like we've had a couple 70-degree days here. It's been glorious. And people are coming in. They're like, oh, I spent, such and such a time pulling weeds and blah, blah, blah.
And they're hurting. They're sore.
Might be a little too much. That's a little too much.
Well, I think, and also that's like anything is that we want to go into it. We just want to get it all done right now. So it's done. Right.
Yeah.
And so we end up overdoing it, which is job security for us if we really think about it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, stop. Oh my God, he's banging the bells. He wants to go outside right now. Like, no, you don't get to go. He's like a child.
Yeah, it's so funny. My little tiny one is bell trained too, but I think one time he got his nail like stuck in the actual bell. And so now when he gets close to it,
he's like, I don't know that I want
to. And he'll like swing and a miss on purpose. It's so funny. I'm like, dude, if you don't start ringing the bells again, like I'm not going to actually know what you're trying to say. He's like,
that's so funny. Yeah. I think I'm surprised he's not using his nose.
Well, he used to like speed bag him.
Yeah.
And
that's what this one does.
Yeah.
He's like clang, clang, clang. Like, shut up.
Stop it.
Jeez. Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Uncle Al. I was just going to do that. I appreciate that very much. Bohemian says, flexibility is so vital. Speaking to my struggle, you always nail it. We love you so much. We got Bill in the house, and Bohemian also says, what's that?
Go ahead.
I would say good, clean living definitely burns calories. Yes, absolutely.
One of the things that I've been seeing, there's a shoe challenge out there. So you're supposed to stand up and put your sock and shoe on one foot standing, and then do the same on the other foot standing. So when we're talking about flexibility, that as far as like longevity goes, flexibility is key. Agility is key. And also balance is key. So think about that when you're headed out on your workouts, try and like stand and actually do that. It's an interesting brain game. It's kind of fun.
They call it the old man challenge.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's what I've heard it called. And I'll see. So
it's coming up all over TikTok and Reels right now.
Oh gosh, it was huge probably a year and a half ago is when I first saw it, maybe a couple years now. But I will do that. I will do that to check my flexibility each day. And this is where, when Dr. Erica and I have these conversations with you guys, is our goal, and we do this with our patients also, is always to get you to be more tuned into your body's needs. Because once there could be one day where you're like, oh my God, I feel amazing and I'm super flexible. Like we do a lot of yoga. So we'll go into a class and we're like, nailed that. And then the next time we're like, oh my God, I feel like rickety. And so when I do that, like I'll start with my socks and then I'll start with my shoes. And sometimes I can't get do it because it depends, like if I have like restriction in your pants or something like that. But put your socks on while you're naked, because then you don't have any restriction in pants.
Oh, good call. Ooh, I like it.
So at least start there.
Yeah.
And then if that's too restricted or if that's too challenging, sit on the edge of your bed. The idea is not to cross your knee over, but you want to get that knee up and into your chest. And you've got to be reaching out and pulling your sock and your shoe on that way.
That's so great.
Yeah. There's the, oh my gosh, was it Kevin James, the comedian? Was it him? It was one of these comedians talked about the side tie, that he's like so fat that his shoes are always side tied.
Oh my God.
He can't reach around the front. So
come on.
So it's like,
funny, not funny, right?
No, it's like, are you all who's side tying? Come on. If you're side tying, we have a problem.
Yeah. That's funny. I just answered that.
What's up?
I just answered that one. I just said I love a mix of both, the treadmill and the stationary bike. Like definitely our body wants dynamic movement. So it doesn't want only one direction or only one movement. In fact, when you're on the treadmill, do a slight jog, then do a walk, then, walk backwards to go sideways. Like it's really great. And then the bike is great because it takes a lot of the impact off the joints. So a really good mix of both. Absolutely.
For sure. Absolutely. Most definitely have a weaker side if I'm sore. Science, human body is so widely intelligent. It really is amazing, isn't it? Yeah. And that's sort of sometimes too, again, thinking about how in tuned are you to your body when we go into, I'm going to use yoga again, is, it's a lot of balancing. It's a lot of upside down stuff. And again, one day I'll be feeling amazing. And the next day I'll be like falling over, like I took down a fifth of alcohol the night before something. And maybe I didn't even drink at all. And it's like, it's kind of crazy. So when you get yourself you start practicing different movements like that and challenging your body, you're going to know day to day versus a crisis that has been building up over several months or even years.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course. Of course. Yes. The answer to that is yes.
Yes. However you want to do it.
However, yes. Good question. Okay, so let's go to number 14.
So this kukri to remove grass and weeds, is that like a
must be a heavy duty?
Yeah, like a hatchety kind of a thing.
Actually, one of my neighbors came over. I have a really awesome neighborhood. He came over and he saw me doing what I was doing. And he's like, oh, I have one of those electric, like the big saw kind of thing. He's like, that would work on that. He said, I just did the ones down by the lake earlier today. And I was like, awesome. But then he also just cut them off. And then they were this long instead of like that long. So I still wanted them this long. So I still had to cut all the way through them anyway. But it was
like
awesome.
I want this knife. I'm going to drop this ridiculous link here.
Awesome.
Yeah. It won't tiny bitly.
Yeah, that's okay.
But yeah, it's a really cool knife. I feel like I need one of those.
It went up a number of times. That's so funny. So principle number 14. Oh, sorry.
We're going back in time.
14. I mean, we
are ready for the week to be over. Let's just.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. We really are. Super glad you're here, though. Okay. You haven't told me. We'll just leave that one alone. No, that's great. That's funny. Okay, number 14, universal life. Force is manifested by motion in matter. That's what we talked about last week. All matter has motion. Therefore, there's universal life in all of matter. I love it.
Read that one again. Read it again.
I know it's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
Force is manifested by motion in matter. All matter has motion. Therefore, there's universal life in all matter.
So, that reminds me, and, you've taken enough science classes also and looked under microscopes where things that should, or you would think that on a broader scale, are, what is it? Inert? Is inert the right word? No motion, right?
Yeah.
Inert means no motion or no activity, I think.
Yeah.
Somebody correct me on that. Somebody will correct me, I'm sure. But then you put it under the microscope and you actually see like vibration.
Mm-hmm.
And so that number 14 reminds me of that, is that
Mm-hmm.
everything has energy. Even this paper has
Mm-hmm.
energy, and that everything vibrates on a low scale to a massive scale.
Mm-hmm.
And that because we are energy and we're always vibrating, we're always in motion.
Mm-hmm.
So are we freeing a path for that energy to move without resistance, or are we creating resistance?
Basically, one of the big theories of chiropractic is that the body needs no help. It just needs no interference. Like, we don't have to add things in. But if this information superhighway that we've discussed so many times, if there's interference there, we need to remove that so the body is capable of moving. And that's where there is universal life in all matter, in that is through the nervous system out to the entire body.
That's such a great question, because
it is a really great question.
And so there, do you all know, Erica, you probably know the story, the water experiment he was a Japanese.
Dr. Emoto. Yep.
Dr. Emoto, right?
Yeah.
So he took, I always forget his name. He took containers of water, and he had the one container, or one, he probably had multiple, but I'm distilling it down and paraphrasing. But the one container played beautiful classical music, spoke words of love and kindness over it, exposed it to sunshine, just, had it in a very peaceful, loving environment, calm. And then the other one he put in a dark closet. He spoke to this container of water, like spoke harsh words to it, words of hate, and played like crazy, heavy metal, not music, just loud, kind of chaotic things. And then at the end of his experiment, I don't remember how long it was, he took the water and he froze it. And then he looked at the ice particles under a microscope. And what he found was that the water that was loved and nurtured, had these beautiful snowflake-like structures. It was absolutely stunning and gorgeous. And then the other one that was not given love and kindness, but was treated with, hatred and sadness and all of that, they were like shards of glass. So 2 containers of water. So you can change energy so swiftly. And Bruce Lipton, I love Bruce Lipton. If you don't know who he is, you need to go look him up, watch him on YouTube. He's done a lot of work behind energy and our thoughts and how it affects our bodies. So when you think of how can we move energy in and out of our body, can we do it in a positive way? Are we doing it in a negative way? So even the thoughts in your head can create negative energy. So I love that statement, Bohemian. Thank you for throwing that out there.
Yeah. Well, the other part about, first of all, that he has a book out. It's called The Messages in Water. Just if you ever want to look that up. So that's so profound in how the crystalline structure of the water would form and reform itself according to the energy around. And guess what? We're 80% water. Guess how much it matters? A lot. It matters a lot. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. I'm going to get that book. I didn't realize he had a book out.
Yeah, he does. In fact, it might actually be on my bookshelf here. If not, it's at home. So yeah, you can look it up. Dr. Emoto. I think it's Emoto.
Oh, I just typed in the messages in water and Masaru Emoto.
Is it Emoto?
Emoto. Yep. Yeah. Perfect. Hidden messages in water. I love that.
Yeah. It's really awesome.
Adding that straight to the cart. Yeah. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
And I think that's also, it's such a great, that's why, some of you guys can look at what Dr. Eric and I are doing and think, oh, this is like woo-woo stuff that we're doing. But we are literally looking at that, how our bodies function from this to the cellular level. And we aren't just this big, skin suit. We are trillions and trillions and gazillions of particles. So it's so important to pay attention to the energy that we're moving through this system to make sure that it is providing us the best possible outcome on this earth. So, so don't neglect that.
Yeah. Lou went that way and I looked over this way. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah. Also play rap music. Yeah. Hey, Grow Big. Nice to see you here. Thanks for being here.
Oh yeah. What the bleep do we know? My attention was drawn to a kind of documentary. Yeah. That one is so great. That's actually where his work was first presented in movie form. They brought it up there, didn't they?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with that one.
There was. And actually, What the Bleep Do We Know is where Dr. Dispenza first showed up.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. It's
amazing.
Really, really good one. It's probably 25 years old is what I'm thinking. Bless you. It's a really, really awesome movie. Yeah. What the Bleep Do We Know?
Oh, I just put that into my Amazon too.
Yeah, it's really. You're like, my Amazon card is at $1.1 million.
I have a stack of books on my bedside that I haven't read because there's so many.
Check out $1.1 million. We love it. No, that's so great. So that is one of the things, okay, so if our body's 80% water and our thoughts, feelings, and energy around us affect that, and then our brain is sitting in soup, which is a water base, and then our spine is swirling around like a snake inside of our spinal cord, spinal column, and then all of our tissues are infiltrated with water. It is really, really critical. It's actually for electrical impulses to go from the brain all the way out to the body, that is through water. So hence again, which we've talked about 1 million times, fresh water every single day, no matter what. What you got?
1 million. 1 million.
1 million. 1.1 million. Check out your Amazon cart. 1.1 million.
1.1 million. So this is also where I love synergy, is that Bohemian says that's wild how the water experiment has been brought up so many times to her recently. So I love that we're connecting, and to me, that's energy, right? So we are providing energy. You are attracted to that energy, and you are here, and we're sharing in that. And that's just how the world works. We are just energetic beings. So, being mindful of that and paying attention, and that's going back to Bruce Lipton. That's why I love his work, because he talks also about the biology of belief is your thoughts, and how, good positive thoughts can create good health. And when you have negative thoughts, it can create poor health. And, how many people, or how many times maybe you listening, you drop a pen and you go, I'm such an idiot. And such a dummy. Like you walk around, we walk around insulting ourselves all the time. Your brain, your neurology hears that. And so if I walked up to you and you dropped a pen and I looked at you and I said, what an idiot you are, you'd be like, I'm sure you'd have a few names to call me. You wouldn't allow me to speak to you like that. Right. But yet we allow ourselves to have these awful dialogues that are even more damaging than somebody else saying something to us. Yeah. So think about that next time and if you're someone who does that, Now, again, awareness, this is why we're here, is creating that awareness, is to make sure the next time that happens, because it will, you just go, oh, oops, and then say, no, I'm a beautiful human. I'm a beautiful soul. Just reverse it. That's all. The thoughts are going to come and go. You're going to slip up. It's okay. It's part of being human, but catch it and replace it with like an old sticker.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
On that old luggage.
No, it's so true. And just think about, I mean, when you have those good thoughts and feelings towards yourself, how much it uplifts, and that uplifting feeling is our serotonin, dopamine, and all those chemicals are healing chemicals. So the more you can uplift the language to yourself, the more you can really do some healing, put some healing energy through your body and just your thoughts and feelings and words. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's and also this is where now that you're aware of it, you're going to start paying attention to other people's dialogue, and you're going to hear it now. You know, it's like you don't see any red cars on the road until you buy one, and now every car on the road you see is red. So now that you're paying attention to your thoughts, you're going to hear a lot of people. You're going to hear how people are so negative amongst themselves. I wanted to bring up too, this, I couldn't remember his name. Norman Cousins is known as the man who laughed himself back to health. So in 1964, Cousins, a political journalist and editor of the Saturday Review, was diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis. That is a horrible, horrible disease, you guys.
And once it gets started, it doesn't stop.
Right. It has a 1 in 500 chance of full recovery. After checking out of the hospital, Cousins watched candid camera and saw his symptoms slowly disappear. He lived another 26 years. So it's so important. You know, this is where like turn off the news, like abort mission, you know, don't expose yourself to the negativity that we have in our world. And there's a lot these days, right?
Yeah. I was just responding to that. Yeah, absolutely. Everything is controlled. Our gut is actually a second brain. So the healthier your gut, we can start to really shift our thoughts and feelings just by, I mean, we just can't stop. We cannot stop our progress and our investments in our health on the daily. And there's so many ways, but the gut for sure.
And also just taking care of that gut, you know, just because you can buy something over the counter does not make it safe. Right. One Tylenol, one Advil, any medication per week, one is enough to break they're called your tight junctions in your gut and cause leaky gut, which then causes leaky brain, which then is a whole cascade of disease process. So just because it's over the counter does not mean it's safe. You know, you can walk into a grocery store and you can buy garbage food.
Yeah.
It's not helping your body. You can walk into a drugstore and buy medications over the counter. It does not help your health. So,
yeah. I was just talking, you know, right now in the last couple of days here in Michigan, allergies are really kicking up because we're kind of going back and forth and we haven't had a deep freeze and all of that. And you know, some of even it's over the counter allergy medication makes your head feel slightly better, but it actually wrecks your spine. It's a drying agent and it wrecks the discs in the spine. And then eventually allergy medication will lead to dried spine and low back pain. Like it's a direct correlation. So even that, like you have to find other things to work with allergies, even this time of year. And one of the other things I had written down a couple of weeks ago is I had a patient come in and she had a sinus infection. Now she's been under care for a very long time, took a break from care, came back. She's been under care for a very long time, is the healthiest she's ever been. And she's like, oh, I got a sinus infection. And then she's like, and I went and got an antibiotic. And I'm like, okay, so here's the thing. I know it's so cringy, but here's the thing. If you give your body the time to fight, it will fight. And we do not. So I think what's gone on in our media is that any infection has led people to believe that our body can't handle that somehow. and that we can fight. But as soon as you put in an antibiotic, there's a time and place for them for sure. But it's not every cough, sniffle, and sneeze that we have. And it's not every stuffy head that we have. And it's not even for some of the, like a throat infection, a strep throat, like our bodies can deal with that. As soon as you put in a antibiotic, it takes what you've done over the last year, 2, 3 years, and it undoes all of that good microbiome in your gut, like within a day, 2 days, 3 days. A Z-Pack will make you feel better. It'll wreck your body, and just know that you can fight, your body can fight this stuff. Stop thinking we're incapable.
And a lot of chronic diseases today are because when you were little,
and
you got sick, your parents gave you, we went straight to the doctor, we got our antibiotics, and you took that. And when you're that young, a lot of times the body doesn't have the body hasn't built up the resiliency.
Right.
So you wipe out the 1 or 2 good bacteria that's in there, and then it can never colonate properly.
No, and people come in and they're like, oh, they've been on 17 rounds of antibiotics, or they're always on 2 to 3 rounds every winter.
Yeah. And then they're like, oh, as soon as I get it, I immediately get a Z-Pack from my doctor because I know it's going to last 2 weeks. Who cares? Let it last 2 weeks.
Let it last 2 weeks.
Like, let's get through it.
Killing your body off.
And when it's all of this, it is 100% a gut issue until proven otherwise. It's this thing called the gut-brain connection. And as Dr. Erica said, our gut is our second brain. I mean, it might be our first brain because these two communicate intimately. So when you damage your gut, you are damaging your brain
and your immune system. And it just ripples down. It ripples down. And so quickly people will jump to something like that. So this Claritin comment too, it's like you can take Claritin and clear that up, but the body created that for a reason. So then it has a rebound effect. Then you take another, it clears it up, rebound, clears it up, rebound. And then your body cannot handle its world. We have to stop doing this. But the other part is every time you get adjusted, you clear that information superhighway, your immune system. And we weren't allowed to say this during the C time of life. Your immune system is boosted huge, like 300 times boost.
Hopefully we won't get shut down because you said immune system.
I said immune system and I said C.
She said the C word. Yeah.
I just said C word. I didn't even say actual word. So anyway.
And it's trusting, which again, that's why we're here, is to help you all before you reach for that over the counter. That, like, oftentimes it's just a habit. You're just like, I'm just rolling with it. I remember when I was early in practice and I didn't, we've learned so much over our years, and a lot of our clinical experiences, like these aha moments, and then it makes us dive deeper into things. And so I didn't know a whole lot about how chiropractic can help people with sinus issues. So I remember I was working with this patient and she'd only been under care just 4 6 weeks maybe. And she said to me, do you think this could help my sinuses? And I said, well, and listen, we're not here to necessarily say if you have sinus issues, you should get adjusted. But if you have sinus issues, you should probably get adjusted.
And you should get adjusted anyways if you don't have sinus issues, or if you do, or if you have other issues, or if you're just walking around the world with a spine.
Just saying. Oh God, I just had a conversation yesterday. Stop saying, just saying, just stop it. Anyway, so she says to me, do you think this could help my sinus issues? And she said, I haven't had to take my nasal spray since I started. And I go, oh, and she said, yeah, I've been taking nasal spray daily for 20 years. 20 years of nasal spray and just a few weeks of chiropractic. And she didn't have to take nasal spray anymore. Like at what point do you go, oh, my body's deficient in nasal spray? Like, we need to wake up that this is not the answer. And if you are living on these, I'm going to call them they're obvious to us, but they're under the radar for you guys. You don't understand that these little things that you're doing every day are causing a massive, massive cascade effect that is damaging you for life.
Yeah, for life.
And then it
Irreparable
makes it harder
damage
for
for
us.
a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. And then you come into us and you're like, oh, I have to come 3 times a week for a month, or, oh, you want me here for 6 months? Or, well, you can't just crack me and what do you want us to do from a holistic perspective when you have brought us 30, 40, 50, 60 years of garbage that you've been doing, like on this low level stuff? It's like, no, we need time, because if you remember principle number 6, everybody say it with us. Everything takes time. That was my little rant. That was my
no, it's good. It's one of those things that we've been talking about too over the last few weeks, which is like this innate wisdom, this innate intelligence, this universal life that is inside of us is trying to express itself to its fullest potential every single day with whatever it's given. And a lot of times it's not till the end of life that we even realize that it's there or have any respect that that's the only difference between life and death. And so if death is ultimately what's going to be happening to us all, then let's live life, but live it and respect that vital force, that universal life force inside of us, and make sure that it's running with eating well, moving our body, drinking well, getting our rest, handling stress, and getting adjusted.
Grow big. Yeah, we're getting plenty of chemicals through our food. So I just saw another thing that now in our US, that in the cheese supply, there's some chemical that's being used instead of rennet, which was originally, that's how a lot of cheeses are made, using rennet, which comes from animals, so it's natural. They're using like a synthetic form of rennet that's actually like a highly toxic chemical that's also then under the generally recognized as safe label, which it's not really. It's just one of those things where the FDA is like, yeah, we don't really feel like diving deep into it to see how harmful it is. So go ahead and use it until we figure out how many people we're going to kill. So, I would love to make my own cheese. I've been saying I need to find a raw milk source. Do you know any raw milk sources?
They're around. And I don't drink enough milk to hunt any of it down. So what I do with dairy, I choose organic. But I haven't ever hunted it down. I don't have a family though. I'm not doing a lot of food prep in general. So, but I think if I did, it would be a totally different story, and I would be hunting down a raw milk source. I know there's a place, there's a farm in Clarkston, but I think that there's like at the milk pickup, it's like moms fighting over the milk because it's that good, and there's limited supply of like really good milk around. And then there's also a place in Holly. I think they have a milk share, but honestly, isn't it illegal in this? I mean, maybe we'll get kicked off YouTube because of that too.
I know. We're getting shut down after this conversation.
Raw milk and the C word.
Is it chymosin? I think Grammy Karen said it's not the cellulose that's added after. This is actually added in
the fermentation
in the cheese making process. I'll figure that out for you guys. And I think for I don't drink. And honestly, the thought of milk right now just kind of,
I know, throw up in your mouth.
I cannot stand milk, but I love yogurt. I was raised on yogurt. And so yogurt and cheese, that would be the only reason, and then cream in my coffee. That would be the only reason I would want raw milk, but I could easily turn that into some pretty amazing things,
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good stuff.
Okay. See you, Uncle Al. Thanks for always making us laugh. Goat milk. So I attempted goat milk when I was pregnant and thought I was going to hurl because it smelled like a goat. So I love goat cheese. Not sure why I could not stomach the goat. I'm like, okay.
They actually say, and this is in the sciences, well, and true science, not just in the science, like that's been used tongue in cheek over the years, but It shows that goat's milk is the closest to human milk, like the closest constituents. So if people ask me, what formula they should be on, well, if you have to go on a formula, it's expensive. However, if you can choose a way to get yourself goat milk formula, it's the closest to human. I don't think I've ever even been around goat milk. I love goat cheese as well. I love the different kind of way that just the texture and flavors of that I really love. But
that is the truth, Happy Mac. I did my sniffer. I still can't be around like ketchup and mustard. I walk by that condiment thing at Costco and I'm like, oh, it's been 20 years. I can't.
I used to be super sensitive until I got COVID and I lost all sense. I was so sensitive. I would have to exit many places. Now I'm grateful that it took away some of the sense. I've never been pregnant, so I never had it increase from where it was, but I just was sensitive just in general. So I was grateful when I lost it took the edge off of that and it's never come back. And I am good with that. Got enough other sensitivities. So
we are at 1:44. I'm remembering now though that I think you had a story. I don't know if you have time for that or if you want to just recap number 14.
I know we'll have to recap and then go on. Okay. We did want to, next week, we'll talk a little bit about how we handle our own health. And Dr. Paula does functional medicine, but we were just texting back and forth and going over a bunch of that stuff. So we wanted to talk a little bit maybe next time. Yes, oh my gosh, the stories just go on and on, but that's why I love cutting it off. So I have to get home, see my babe, and then see my baby and then get back here. And then I'm traveling right after work today. So I got to get the rest of my stuff packed up, but we're always limited to just the 45. But I think the 45 makes it so that everyone's, interested enough, engaged enough. And we have so much more to say every week.
Yeah.
So great.
All right, recap us.
Okay. So number 14, universal life. Force is manifested by motion in matter. All matter has motion. Therefore, there's a universal life in all matter.
All matter.
All matter.
Everything. Everything's vibrating, whether you think it is or not. Yep.
And then inside of us, that's where the part of the universal is our innate. So, okay. So number 15. Shall I?
Yeah, give it to us.
Okay. No motion without the effort of force. Matter can have no motion without the application of force by intelligence. And it does sound like we're spinning around the same thing. And in essence, in the big picture, we are. However, there's such subtleties in all of these. And it's going to be great.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Okay, so stay tuned. I can't believe it's going to just be in a blink of an eye. We'll be back. So also, I will see you on Sunday Night Live, and then we'll be back next week for principle number 15. So tell your friends, share the channel, tell everybody what we're doing, and get right here so we can get you on your road to better health. So thanks you guys always for being here. We appreciate and love you so much.
Oh, Lou's here too.
Bye, Lou. Bye, Lou.